Nigeria's housing deficit is estimated at 17 million, and this was as far back as 2012 by the National Bureau of Statistics. It is argued that this figure would have increased over the years owing to Nigeria's growing population. Welcome to Real Estate Portal on Silverbird Television, a program dedicated to highlighting the issues and developments in the housing sector and, of course, giving you perspectives from experts in the sector on what the trends are and indeed what the future holds for the sector. Welcome, I'm Chinyere Favour Jimmy. Good to have you join us. But before we begin our discussion with an expert and a developer in this sector this morning, we begin to ask the questions: how affordable is housing in Nigeria? How close are we to bridging the gap that we have spotted out to be minimum 17 million? We went to the streets to take views of Nigerians on what they think about housing delivery in the country and how affordable the houses are. Take a listen.
I pray to have one. I think it's better now because payment mode is better. You can spread it over a couple of months. And for those of us that are salary earners, I think they are creating a venue for us to own a house. I think it's better. We all pray to own a house one day, especially in Lagos. We have land in my village, it's not valuable. But here in Lagos, you've got to pay. Someone just approached me not quite long ago that, that we should come and get some plot of land there at Lekki side. We are working on that.
It's money. You have to have money to own your own property. So, but it's not like a dream. I think I look at it as something I'm going to do.
With good arrangement and good planning, you can own a house. If your salary is good, with good savings, yes, you can own a house. I own a house. Though it's not a big house, but it's a house.
It depends how you live and the money they are paying you as a salary. You can collect big money now, get a house. You are going low money now, you don't have a house.
That's where the challenge is because the land, before you can even get the original one, is so expensive. You have to go through agents, through all this, what do they call it, estate agents. That is too much. If you go to Omonile, they can sell the land that you have already sold 2-3 times for you. So you are in another trouble. That is why it's somehow. But one day God will do it.
It is not a property I bought now. I bought it for a while. Are you there? But the problem then is this Omonile stuff. During the period I bought it, but I think there is a law now from the Lagos State government that they promulgated about this Omonile stuff, disturbing people who owns property in Lagos, which I believe is going to help us in developing those ones that we've bought before.
Right, welcome back to Real Estate Portal. Let's continue our conversation now with experts in this sector and looking at the potentials that this sector avails the Nigerian economy and how we can harness the potentials, of course, to translate into a better economy for Nigeria. Welcome with me my guests on this time of the program with the discussion to kickstart this talk about just how the housing sector is faring in Nigeria and how we can harness the diverse opportunities therein. Good to have you join us, Mr. Nabil Neman.
Nice to be here.
Thank you for your time. And he is the chairman, Neman Construction Limited, with 37 years of experience in this industry and has been in Nigeria for this long. Let's get your perspectives on how the housing sector, real estate sector now at large, has fared for 37 years at least you have been in Nigeria practicing.
Yeah, when I first came to join the family business in 1980, a duplex will cost about 100,000 naira to build. Which was about, the naira was about $1.50 at that time. That was in 1980. And today, the same duplex that you would build for 100,000 naira in those days will cost you today about 400 times that amount, which is about 440 million naira to build in today's market. And yet people are still in the business. So we are going through a tough time today because of the devaluation of the naira. that went from 160 to 500, now is down to 400 to 1. Eventually, the market will adjust itself. We've seen it in the 90s. We've seen it in the early 2000s, and now we are going through the same thing. When you have a big shock of the devaluation of the naira, the way it happened within 1 month, going from 160 to 400, it takes time for all the market to adjust. But eventually, when it adjusts, there will be still prosperous times to see in the real estate. Still, I can say real estate and property development is still the most secured investments anybody can put their money in. We've seen people lose fortunes in the stock market. We've lost in the stock market. But once you have a property, nobody can take it away from you. It's there for you, for your children, for your grandchildren. And worldwide, not only in Nigeria or Lagos, worldwide, properties will always go up. It's the safest way of investment.
All right, it's good you pointed out just how many phases that we have been through. They describe the Nigerian current economic situation as very challenging, but good to think that we've been down that road before. I mean, you've been here since the 80s. There was a time where we had the austerity measures and the economy was in such a state, but yet the sector survived all through this. So in terms of just how optimistic that you are in this time, that this is perhaps even a sector that could jumpstart the economy if the right things are done, what do you think?
In any big city, the variance of evaluating the economy of that city is always the real estate sector. If you look at Los Angeles, where if I'm not here, I'm in Los Angeles, once the real estate is booming, the whole city is booming. More people are coming in, it means more investors are coming into the city to invest. Once the real estate is dull, it means the whole economy of that city is done. It is the media, it is the evaluating process of any city. So definitely the real estate industry is the most important, in my opinion, the most important evaluation of a city's economy.
But the big question is about the housing deficit that exists in Nigeria. I mean, as far back as 2012, the National Bureau of Statistics released a report that we were at the time 17 million in deficit in housing. Now, there are arguments that, of course, you expect that it would have grown owing to our growing population. How do you think that we can begin to address this? We understand that the role of the private sector is very key in this regard.
For the real estate development to expand, you need more road networks, you need more trains. We've seen it, if you want to compare, I mean, if you look at the US, for example, the West Coast in the late 1800s, nobody wanted to take their horse and ride 1 month to get to the West Coast from the East Coast. Once you had the train system established between the East and West, you had this influx of people coming and investing in the west of the United States. And I think what our president is doing today, he has to be applauded for, which is all this new train system that are coming up, whether it's from Kano or from Kaduna to Abuja. It means next to all these train stations, there will be development. And if you have the train system going from Lagos to Abuja and then to Maiduguri, the more you have a train network, which is the cheapest and the easiest way to have communication, to have movement of people, that will definitely encourage developers to come and build more properties.
All right. In your earlier response to my question, you mentioned something I'd like to take you back to. You talked about the price differentials over the years, and give the instance of a duplex. Now, let's look at the factors that have played up the cost in the sector, because earlier on, before I came up for this discussion with you, we had gone out in the field asking questions about most people would like to own properties, but they're worried about the cost. How do you think that this can be addressed, at least to bring it down a little bit?
Most of material, finishing material, I would say it adds up to 60% of the cost of any building, at least 60%. It's all imported, and it's all based on dollar rate. If the dollar is high, like today was 400, it used to be 500 to 1, of course these prices are going to be more expensive to bring in. But as I said, today it's not easy to digest that differential of the exchange rate, because we had this devaluation of the naira in a very fast way. But eventually, when people are going to start building their own new projects, and they have to pay the new product with the new exchange rate, their prices are going to be high. So whatever is available in the market will follow with that, so that the exchange rate will be adjusted, and you can get back whatever you're supposed to have gotten back if you had built the property 2 years before.
I see. Now, this is a sector that is driven by the private sector, mainly the real estate sector in Nigeria. I mean, people like yourself, 37 years counting. Now, let's look at how more conducive environment we should be looking at with policies from government, so that, of course, if the prices are down for a bit, then you will be in business and be better off for it, and Nigerians can own properties more of an affordable, rates, so to speak. What do you think?
State governments should encourage private developers. But again, we go through the same issue, and we faced this in Kaduna, we faced it in Abuja, where you have contractors, genuine contractors who are willing to build estates. Then you get the bottleneck of being able to secure the right size lots to be able to do their own projects, because maybe some political issues that the plots are allocated to political affiliates or whatever it is. For this sector to develop properly, it has to be a bit more inclined to favor serious developers, people who have built so many projects. We have developed a lot of properties in VI, all under contractor finance. Actually, we almost started the contractor finance scheme back in 1961-62 with my father in Victoria Island and Ikoyi. But without the support of government willing and accepting to give allocations of properties to genuine foreign and Nigerian companies, and keep it in the hands of, if I may say so, respectively politicians, you're not going to get proper development.
All right, let's share in your experience, because of course you are from Lebanon and you practice in America. Of course, let's even go to your home country, Lebanon, where there are sectors that are more favorable. Housing is one of it. Is there something like a model that can work for Nigeria? What are your ideas on what we can remodel after for more housing and more affordable housing as well?
If you're talking about the model that they are having in Lebanon, I can tell you that the mortgage bank in Lebanon plays a very important role. Is willing to give staff who are earning salaries of $1,000 or $2,000 facilities to be able to buy their houses. The interest rate that they charge, I think, is like 3 or 4%, which makes it very, very attractive for middle class people who are making sufficient money to be able to pay back the bank plus the interest to go and get a flat of 150 or 160 square meter, which is good enough for somebody who's starting in life. Unfortunately, here in Nigeria, the mortgage bank is not as aggressive as it's supposed to be. And the best way for the government to be able to support the real estate development, especially for the grassroots society or the middle class society, has to be channeled with a good mortgage bank policy and monitored by whoever supposed to be monitored, to make sure that at least if you give somebody a house, he should be able to pay back that house plus the interest.
Finally, before we let you go now, if you would just make some projections and tell us what you foresee for the Nigerian real estate sector, say in the next 5 years or 10 years, projections.
Nigerian economy is what we call rent economy, in the sense that it is controlled by one commodity, which is oil. If price of oil, and it's unfortunate because you should have an economy which is flexible, that does not have to depend on one item. There's a lot of economies in the world that also depends on one commodity. If the price of oil goes up, then the economy of Nigeria goes up. I personally believe that the price of oil will go up. And if the production here also goes up, and there is a lot of potentials of the production to go up in Nigeria, because there is a lot of availability of oil offshore in Nigeria. The demand will always be for houses. Foreign companies will always be willing to come and invest in Nigeria, especially in the oil sector. I think the economy will adjust. The real estate sector, which is suffering a lot today because of that exchange rate, will also adjust to the new rate, and we will see another boom, and very soon, maybe in the next 1 year or 2 years, in the real estate space.
All right, interesting. Good to have you join us on this program. We appreciate your time with us, Mr. Nabil Neman, who is the chairman, Neman Construction Limited, and of course, a construction expert for 37 years in Nigeria practicing. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. All right, there you have it, all the investment decisions that you would need to make and how well informed you should be while you decide on what to go into and how to invest in the real estate sector. But that will be it for this episode of Real Estate Portal. We ask you to join us again next week. Do avail yourself of the opportunities you see on your screen to get us your feedback and your perspectives on the program. I'm Chinyere Favor Jimmy. Join us again next week.